Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our Swift programming tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at inheritance and polymorphism. Inheritance and polymorphism are concepts that are fundamental to object-oriented programming. However, with inheritance you can use it incorrectly, and we'll talk about ways to avoid using it incorrectly, as well as what polymorphism is and why it's important. All right, so let's talk about inheritance. Inheritance is a concept in object-oriented programming that allows us to create hierarchies of related classes. So a good metaphor for this is to think about your family tree, right? You, the child, have parents. Your parents have grandparents. Your grandparents have parents of their own, right? So it just goes further and further and further up and down the tree. You can have your own children, they can have their children, so on and so forth. Inheritance with classes works the exact same way, where you can have what's called a base class, and that base class can have subclasses or child classes, and those child classes can be base classes for their own children or subclasses, and it can go on and on forever. And that is where the problems with inheritance come in. If you make your inheritance hierarchy too large, it can cause many problems down the line, including making your code less maintainable and less readable, among others. So try to only make your inheritance hierarchies a couple classes deep, like 2 to 3 classes deep, maximum. At least that's what I generally recommend. To avoid any complications down the road with maintainability of your code. All right? Now, let's talk about what polymorphism is. Polymorphism goes hand in hand with inheritance, where polymorphism is a concept that basically indicates that something in a class can take on many forms, whether it be a property or a method. In most cases, it's a method. And because we can use polymorphism, we can treat each subclass as if it was an object of the base class. And we'll show an example here in this video of how exactly that works, because it might be a little bit confusing when you're just being, when it's just being talked about and explained to you. Okay, so let's go to Xcode and actually implement this example that we're going to use for inheritance and polymorphism. Okay, so we're going to use an animal example. What I want you to do is inside of Xcode, what we're going to do is I'm going to get rid of these real quick. Move those to the trash. What I want you to do is I want you to create 2 classes. One is going to be called animal, and the other is going to be, well, actually, no, we're going to create 3 classes. One called animal, another called cat, and another called dog. Okay? So go ahead and create a new file. We want a Swift file, and this file is going to be called animal. All right. Go into your project navigator again. Go ahead and create another file. We're going to create another Swift file. We're going to call this one dog. And then we're going to create another one called cat. All right. We have 3 files now: animal, dog, and cat. Let's go into animal. And we are going to create our base class. Okay, so I'm going to remove everything in here. And we're going to say class animal. And we're going to have a single method in here. This method is going to be called make sound. So func make sound, like that. Print generic animal sound. Okay, we don't want any sort of specific sound being in our animal class. We just need it to we just need it to be something generic here, okay? And that is our animal class. Nothing too complicated. Let's go into dog now. Inside of dog, we are again going to remove everything within this file, and we're going to create a class called dog. So class dog. However, we want dog to inherit from animal. So how exactly then do we inherit from a class? Well, you do a colon, space, and then any class you want to extend from, you want to inherit from. In this case, animal. Like that. So we have class dog, colon, animal, and then we opened it with left and right curly braces. Inside of this class, we need to what's called override our make sound method. But how do we do that? Well, we do this using the override keyword. So to override our make sound method, we need to say override func make sound print woof, like that. All right, and there we go. We don't have any errors or anything like that inside of dog. Now we have our own implementation of make sound inside of the dog class. That's exactly what we want. All right, so now what we can do is go to our cat class. So go into cat. We will remove everything in this file as well. We'll say class cat colon animal, just like we did, just like we did with our dog class. Now we need to override make sound inside of our cat class. So override func make sound. There we go. And then we can print meow. Like that. Save that. And we have no errors inside of this class either. So now that we're done with cat, that is our sub and base classes. Okay, so animal, again, to review, is our base class. Our base class is what all of our children are going to inherit from. Cat and dog are our child classes or subclasses because they inherit from the base class. Each of these classes has its own implementation of the make sound method that they inherit from animal. So with this, we can use polymorphism to treat cat and dog objects as if they are directly an object of animal. Let's go into main, and I'll show you an example of what I mean by that. So let's go into our navigator, project navigator. We want main.swift. All right. Inside of our main, let's create an array of animal objects. So var animals colon left bracket animal right bracket equals, and then inside of the array we'll just have a cat object and a dog object. So cat dog, like that. Pretty simple stuff. All right. Now we can loop through this array of animal objects using a for loop. So for animal in animals, like that. And we can say animal dot make sound, like that. Now you can see that with our array, we don't have any errors on that. The reason we don't is because cat and dog inherit from animal. So this basically says cat, is an animal and dog is an animal. So therefore, if you create an array of animal, that works. But if you were to, say, have an array of cat objects and you tried to instantiate and store an instance, like an actual animal object in that array, it wouldn't. Because while a cat is an animal is not a cat. So it doesn't work both ways. And then, in our for loop, we are looping through that array of animals, and we're calling make sound. This is where we are treating the cat and dog objects as if they are an object of animal. Because cat, dog, and animal each have a make sound method, this works. And because cat has its own implementation, dog has its own implementation, we will see meow and woof in our inside of our console instead of generic animal sound. So if we run this code, let's go into our debug area, go into our console, and in fact, we do see meow and woof printed to our console. So that pretty much does it for this video on how we can use inheritance and polymorphism in Swift. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.